Commander Susan Mitchell stood at the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Stellar Dawn, watching as her latest creation performed its test run. The quantum-entangled missiles danced through space like silver fish in a cosmic pond, making turns that should have been impossible according to conventional physics. "Status report," she called out, keeping her voice steady despite her excitement. The bridge crew worked efficiently at their stations, monitoring the test with practiced precision. "All missiles responding perfectly, Commander," Lieutenant Alan Peters responded from the weapons console. "Quantum entanglement holding at 99.8% stability." Susan allowed herself a small smile. After 3 years of development, the QEM system was finally working as intended. What had started as a desperate innovation during the Centauri War had evolved into something far more refined. The peaceful silence of the weapon test was interrupted by the sudden appearance of 3 ships, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Their sleek, crystalline designs marked them as belonging to the Radiant Collective, one of the senior members of the Council of Stars. "Unscheduled arrival of Council vessels," reported Communications Officer Mary Baker. They're requesting immediate cessation of our weapons test." Susan frowned. The Council observers weren't due for another 3 weeks. Their early arrival and immediate demand felt wrong. "Open a channel," she ordered. Before Mary could comply, the quantum display lit up with the image of a radiant elder, its crystalline form glowing with internal light. "Commander Mitchell," it chimed, its translator converting musical tones into English. "I am Observer Prismatic Resonance. You will power down your weapon systems immediately." Susan straightened her uniform. "Observer, this is a scheduled test within Earth's designated space. We filed all the appropriate notifications. The Council has new concerns regarding human military innovation rates," Prismatic Resonance replied. "Your species has developed technologies in 3 decades that took others centuries to perfect." The bridge crew exchanged glances. What should have been a compliment sounded more like an accusation. "Our rapid development was necessary for survival," Susan countered. "The Centauri attacks are a convenient excuse for unprecedented military advancement," the observer interrupted. "The Council is convening an emergency session. Your presence is required." Susan's mind raced back to the dark days of the Centauri War. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, forced to innovate or face extinction. The quantum-entangled missiles were just one of many breakthroughs born from desperation. "I'll need to consult with Earth Command," she began, but Prismatic Resonance's glow intensified. "This is not a request, Commander. The Council's concerns about human innovation rates require immediate attention." As if to emphasize the point, the 3 Radiant ships moved to surround the Stellar Dawn. Their weapons remained powered down, but the message was clear. Susan studied the tactical display. The test missiles were still active, their quantum-entangled states giving them capabilities that even the Council races hadn't mastered. She could demonstrate exactly why humanity's innovations shouldn't be underestimated, but that would only prove their fears justified. "Stand down the test," she ordered her crew. "Archive all data and prepare a full report for Earth Command." She turned back to the observer's image. "We'll comply with the Council's request, but I want it noted that this interruption of a scheduled test violates 3 separate provisions of the Species Development Treaty." The observer's glow flickered in what might have been surprise. Humans weren't supposed to know the treaty's fine points. "Your protest is noted, Commander. Prepare for transit to Celestial Point. The Council awaits." As the transmission ended, Susan's second-in-command, Commander Daniel Wright, approached her station. "They're scared," he whispered. "The mighty Council of Stars is actually scared of us." "They should be," Susan replied quietly, "but not for the reasons they think." She accessed her terminal, sending a quick encoded burst to Earth Command. They needed to know that the Council's attitude toward human innovation had shifted from concern to fear. The journey to Celestial Point, the Council's massive space station, took 6 hours. Susan spent the time reviewing humanity's technological progression since first contact with the Centauri. The numbers were impressive, even to her. Faster-than-light travel efficiency improved by 300%. Weapons systems advanced by several generations. Medical technology leaped forward by decades. All of it driven by necessity, not aggression. The Zentari had given humanity no choice but to evolve or die. The stellar dawn emerged from FTL travel in the shadow of Celestial Point. The station was a marvel of engineering, a massive wheel of silver and light that served as the meeting place for the 15 species of the Council of Stars. Usually, it was a symbol of cooperation and progress. Today, it felt more like a court of judgment. Multiple council ships detected, Ellen reported. Representatives from all major species are present. This isn't just a regular session. Susan nodded. They'd been watching us more closely than we thought. The quantum missile test was just the final straw. She stood from her command chair. Mr. Wright, you have the bridge. I'll face the music alone. The council chamber was designed to intimidate. 15 massive seats arranged in a circle, each occupied by a representative of a different species. Some were humanoid, others completely alien. All were now focused on the single human standing in the center. High Elder Luminous Clarity, another member of the Radiant Collective, spoke first. Commander Susan Mitchell, you stand before the Council to address concerns about humanity's military innovation rate. Susan kept her posture straight and professional. With respect, High Elder, I fail to see how defending ourselves through technological advancement is a matter for Council concern. A ripple of murmurs passed through the chamber. The representative of the Vex Collective, a species of silicon-based crystalline beings, leaned forward. Your species advanced from primitive chemical rockets to quantum-entangled weapons in less than a century. Such progress defies natural development patterns. Natural development patterns didn't account for the Zentari trying to exterminate us, Susan countered. We adapted because we had to. The Zentari threat has been contained, rumbled the massive form of the Kraken Elder, its tentacles writhing in agitation. Yet your military research continues at an alarming rate. Susan felt her patience wearing thin. We continue to advance because that's what living species do. We learn, we grow, we improve. Is that not the purpose of the Council? To foster progress. Controlled progress, Luminous Clarity corrected. Stable progress. Your species' rate of innovation threatens the balance we have maintained for millennia. The truth behind their fear finally clicked in Susan's mind. You're not afraid we'll become aggressive, she said slowly. You're afraid we'll make everyone else question your control over technological advancement. The chamber fell silent. Susan pressed her advantage. The Zentari War proved that innovation doesn't have to take centuries. Other species are already studying our methods, aren't they? They're asking questions about why they have to wait for Council approval for every advancement. Enough. Luminous Clarity's glow became almost blinding. The Council will adjourn to discuss appropriate measures. Commander Mitchell, you will remain on Celestial Point until summoned again. As the Council members filed out, Susan activated her personal communicator, sending another encoded message to Earth Command. The situation was worse than anyone had imagined. The Council wasn't just concerned about human military innovation. They were terrified of losing their grip on technological progress throughout the galaxy. Back in her assigned quarters, Susan stared out at the stars. Humanity had fought the Zentari because they had to, innovated because they needed to survive. Now they faced a different kind of threat, a council that feared progress itself. Her communicator chimed with an encrypted response from Earth Command. She read it twice, then allowed herself a grim smile. If the Council thought humanity's past innovations were concerning, they hadn't seen anything yet. The real question was, how would the Council react when they realized that trying to stop human progress was like trying to stop a star from shining? Ambassador Peter Collins watched the recorded footage of the quantum missile test for the third time. The missiles moved with impossible grace, defying the normal laws of physics. Even after seeing it multiple times, it still amazed him. He sat in his office aboard Celestial Point, preparing for what would likely be the most important diplomatic meeting of his career. The council representatives have arrived. Sir, his assistant Linda Ross announced through the intercom. Send them in, Peter replied, straightening his diplomatic uniform. 3 council members entered. A towering Radiant, a serpentine Vex, and surprisingly, a younger member of the Auroran species. Peter recognized this as a calculated move. The Aurorans were known for their moderate views. Ambassador Collins, the Auroran, spoke first. Her name was Dawn Singer, and her bioluminescent skin pulsed with gentle colors. We come with grave concerns. Peter gestured to the seats designed to accommodate various alien physiologies. Regarding Commander Mitchell's weapons test, I assume. Not just the test. The Vex representative, Crystal thought, rasped. We have compiled evidence of humanity's military advancement rate. It is disturbing. The holographic display in the center of the room came to life, showing a timeline of human military innovation. Peter watched as images of Earth's first primitive space weapons evolved into the current quantum-based systems in mere decades. Perhaps a demonstration of past events would be more convincing. The radiant, pure light chimed. The hologram shifted to show footage from the HFY War. Peter's jaw tightened as he watched the battle that had changed everything. Earth ships, heavily damaged and outgunned, faced a HFY battle fleet. The humans should have lost. Instead, they had revealed their first major innovation, the phase shift drive. The recording showed Earth ships literally passing through HFY vessels, their modified engines allowing them to briefly exist in a different dimensional state. The HFY, with their millennia-old technology, had no defense against it. This technology, Crystal thought said, was developed in less than a year of conflict. The Council requires centuries to approve such advancements. We were fighting for survival, Peter countered. The HFY gave us no choice. And now? Dawn Singer asked softly, what drives your innovation now that the HFY threat is contained? Before Peter could answer, his personal communicator buzzed with an urgent message. He read it quickly, his eyes widening slightly. Admiral Lisa Warren had just completed a successful test of something called the Ripple Drive. Even he didn't have clearance to know the details. Your continued advancement threatens the stability of the galaxy, Pure Light stated. The Council cannot allow it. Peter stood, walking to the window that overlooked the vast expanse of space. With respect, how does our progress threaten stability? Other species are beginning to question, Crystal thought admitted. They see humanity's rapid advancement and ask why they must wait for Council approval for each small step forward. The young races are particularly restless, Dawn Singer added. They study your methods, your adaptability. Some even suggest leaving the Council's guidance entirely. Peter turned back to face them. And this is humanity's fault, that others see what's possible and want to achieve it. You don't understand. Pure Light's glow intensified. Before the Council, before controlled progress, species destroyed themselves and others with unchecked advancement. We prevent such chaos. A memory flashed in Peter's mind. Something Commander Mitchell had discovered in the ancient Earth archives. Like what happened to the precursors? He asked quietly. All 3 Council members stiffened. Dawn Singer's skin flashed with surprised patterns. How do you know of them? Crystal thought demanded. We found references in ruins on Mars, Peter replied. They were like you, weren't they? A council that controlled progress. Until something went wrong. Something they couldn't adapt to fast enough. Pure Light's glow dimmed noticeably. The precursor's failure is precisely why we must maintain control. Unrestricted progress leads to destruction. Or maybe their control of progress prevented the adaptation needed for survival, Peter suggested. Like how humanity had to adapt to survive the HFY. Dawn Singer moved closer to Peter, her colors shifting to thoughtful blues. You believe there is a middle path between unrestricted advancement and complete control. I believe trying to stop progress is like trying to stop a river, Peter said. You can build dams, but eventually the pressure becomes too great. Better to learn to swim with the current. His communicator buzzed again. Another message from Earth Command. He read it and had to work to keep his expression neutral. The Ripple drive test hadn't just been successful. It had exceeded all expectations. Humanity had just changed the rules of space travel again. The Council will issue its final warning, Pure Light announced. Humanity must cease military research and submit to oversight, or face sanctions. Peter met each of their gazes in turn. And if we refuse, then the Council will have no choice but to contain the threat you represent, Crystal Thought stated. As they left his office, Peter sent an urgent message to Earth Command. The Council's fear ran deeper than anyone had suspected, rooted in ancient failures they'd never truly recovered from. But their attempt to control progress might accomplish what the Zentari couldn't: unite humanity against them. Linda entered after the Council members left. "Sir, Admiral Warren requests an immediate secure communication." Peter nodded, moving to his encrypted terminal. Lisa Warren's face appeared on the screen, her expression both excited and concerned. "Peter, the Ripple drive works," she said without preamble. "It doesn't just bend space. It creates microscopically controlled ripples in the fabric of reality itself. We can travel faster and more efficiently than anything the Council has." "Lisa, they're about to demand we stop all military research," Peter warned. "Let them demand," she replied. "We've already proven we can innovate faster than they can react. The real question is, how many other species will follow our lead?" Peter looked out at the stars again, thinking of the countless races bound by the Council's restrictions. The Council fears change because they remember failure, but humanity remembers something else. "What's that?" Lisa asked. "That the only way to prevent history from repeating itself is to learn from it and move forward," Peter said. "The Council tries to prevent disaster by standing still. We prevent it by learning to run." As he ended the communication, Peter began preparing his response to the Council's upcoming ultimatum. Humanity wouldn't submit to oversight. They couldn't. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter at the thought, as if nature itself approved of progress. The real question was, what would the Council fear more? Humanity's continued innovation, or the revolution of ideas they'd already sparked among the other races? Dr. Nathan Howard stood in his laboratory aboard the research station Morning Star, staring at the holographic display of his latest discovery. The patterns floating before him weren't just data, they were proof of something that would change everything. "Run the simulation again," he told his research partner, Amy Grant. "I need to be absolutely sure." Amy nodded, her fingers dancing across the control panel. The hologram reset, showing the flow of information through the Council's supposedly secure quantum network. Nathan had discovered it by accident while studying their communication patterns. "It's still there," Amy said softly. "The control protocols. They're embedded in everything." Nathan watched as the data streams revealed the Council's greatest secret. Every piece of approved technology, every advancement they permitted, contained hidden limitations. Like invisible chains, these protocols prevented races from pushing past certain boundaries. The lab's security system chimed. "Dr. Howard," the AI announced, "priority message from Earth Command." The message was brief but clear. The Council had issued their ultimatum: cease all military research and submit to oversight, or face consequences. Nathan looked at his discovery again and laughed without humor. "They're not trying to protect anyone," he said. "They're trying to trap us in the same cage they put everyone else in." His personal communicator buzzed. Commander Mitchell calling from Celestial Point. He accepted the call, and Susan's face appeared on the screen. "Nathan, please tell me you found something we can use," she said without preamble. "The Council's given us 48 hours to comply with their demands." "I found their whole game," Nathan replied. He transmitted the data to her secure channel. "Look at the pattern. Every piece of approved technology comes with hidden restrictions. The Council doesn't just control the pace of progress, they make sure no one can ever advance beyond their limits." Susan's eyes widened as she studied the data. This explains why the other races never caught up to the Council, even after thousands of years. The chains were built into everything they were given. But we developed our technology independently, Amy added, joining the conversation. That's why they're panicking. We're the first race in millennia to break free of their pattern. Nathan's next words were interrupted by alarms blaring through the station. Red emergency lights began flashing. Multiple Council ships dropping out of FTL, the station's AI reported. They're demanding immediate surrender of all research data. Nathan looked at Susan's image. They must have detected our discovery. We didn't hide our traces well enough. Delete nothing, Susan ordered. Help is coming. The Morning Star has a prototype ripple drive installed. Use it. The transmission cut off as the first Council ships reached the station. Nathan turned to Amy. Get to the bridge. Tell them to power up the ripple drive. I'll secure the data. Amy hesitated for a moment, then rushed out. Nathan quickly began transferring all their findings to a quantum-encrypted drive. The station shuddered as the Council ships locked on with tractor beams. Warning, the AI announced. Hull breach detected in sections 12 through 15. Council forces are boarding. Nathan finished the data transfer just as the lab doors slid open. A team of radiant warriors entered, their crystalline forms glowing with barely contained energy. Dr. Nathan Howard, their leader, chimed. You will surrender all research data immediately. Nathan held up his hands, keeping the small data drive hidden in his palm. You're too late. We already know what you've been doing. Keeping everyone trapped in your technological prison. The radiant's glow intensified. The limitations are necessary. Unrestricted progress leads to chaos. No, Nathan countered. Fear of progress leads to stagnation, and you've been afraid for a very long time, haven't you? The station lurched suddenly, throwing everyone off balance. The ripple drive was powering up, its new form of spatial manipulation making reality itself shiver around them. You cannot escape, the radiant leader said. Your primitive drive system. Nathan smiled. You still don't understand. We don't copy technology. We reinvent it. The ripple drive doesn't work like anything you've seen before. As if to prove his point, the drive activated. Space around the station began to twist in ways that shouldn't have been possible. The Council ship's tractor beams slipped away like water off glass. All human personnel braced for ripple translation. The AI announced. The laboratory seemed to fold in on itself, reality bending in beautiful patterns. The radiant warriors tried to advance, but found themselves moving in slow motion, caught in the drive's space-time distortion. When reality snapped back to normal, the Morning Star was gone, leaving the Council ships behind. They had emerged near Earth's defense fleet, safe behind the planet's new quantum shield network. Nathan made his way to the bridge, finding Amy at the control station. Status. Drive performed perfectly, she reported. But the Council won't let this go. We just proved everything they feared about human innovation. Nathan connected his data drive to the main computer, preparing to transmit their findings to Earth Command. No, we proved something else. We proved that their way of controlling progress isn't the only way. Maybe it was never the right way at all. His console lit up with an incoming transmission, not from Earth Command, but from representatives of 3 younger Council races. They had seen the Morning Star's escape. They had questions, many questions. Nathan looked at the data showing the Council's hidden limitations, then at the messages from races eager to break free from those constraints. The Council's ultimatum had just backfired spectacularly. They wanted us to stop innovating, he told Amy. Instead, we're about to start a revolution. Amy studied the incoming messages with growing excitement. The Council's worst fear wasn't just that we keep advancing. It was that we'd show others how to break free too. Nathan began composing replies to the younger races. The Council had spent millennia building walls around scientific progress. Humanity hadn't just climbed those walls. They'd shown they were never needed in the first place. The real question now wasn't whether humanity would submit to the Council's demands. It was how many other races would join them in breaking free from artificial limitations that had held them back for far too long. Major Catherine Davis watched as her engineering team made the final adjustments to the Ripple Drive's core. The massive engine room of the Star Voyager hummed with energy as they prepared for their most daring mission yet. Final checks complete, Major reported Chief Engineer Paul White. The improved drive is ready. It's 3 times more powerful than the prototype that saved the Morning Star. Catherine nodded, checking the readings on her tablet. In the week since Dr. Howard's discovery of the Council's hidden limitations, Earth scientists had worked nonstop to push their technology even further. The Ripple Drive was now something entirely new, a system that could not only bend space but reshape it. Message from Command. Her assistant, Ben Carter, called out. The Council fleet is moving. They're gathering forces from all their major worlds. Catherine moved to the main display screen. Dozens of Council ships were converging on a point near the edge of human space. They were preparing for something big. They think we're planning to attack, she said quietly. They still don't understand. Her communicator chimed with an encrypted message from Ambassador Collins. The younger Council races who had contacted Dr. Howard were now openly questioning their leaders. The ancient balance of power was crumbling. All personnel to stations. Catherine ordered through the ship's comm system. Prepare for Ripple Drive activation. The Star Voyager moved smoothly out of Earth's orbit, its new drive system already changing the way space flowed around the ship. Unlike the brutal force of conventional engines, the Ripple Drive worked with the fabric of reality, creating gentle waves that carried them forward. Council communication incoming, then reported. They're ordering us to power down and surrender. Catherine opened the channel. The stern face of High Elder Luminous Clarity appeared on the main screen, its crystalline form practically vibrating with tension. This is your final warning, the Elder declared. Your species has gone too far. The natural order must be preserved. With respect, Elder, Catherine replied. There's nothing natural about artificially limiting progress. We've seen your hidden protocols, the restrictions you built into every piece of technology you shared. Those limitations preserved peace for millennia. Luminous Clarity's glow pulsed with anger. Already your influence spreads chaos. The Auroran worlds speak of independence. The Vex colonies demand unrestricted research rights. Catherine smiled slightly. They're not demanding chaos, Elder. They're demanding the freedom to grow. Enough, the Elder declared. You leave us no choice. The Council fleet will demonstrate why controlled progress is necessary. The transmission cut off. On the tactical display, Catherine watched as over 50 Council ships formed an attack formation. They're powering up weapons, Paul reported. Traditional energy weapons, nothing we haven't seen before. Catherine took her command position. Begin recording all sensors. What we're about to show them needs to be seen by everyone. The Star Voyager's crew worked with quiet efficiency as the Council fleet approached. They had trained for this moment, preparing to demonstrate that humanity's innovations weren't a threat. They were a gift. Ripple Drive at full power, Paul announced. Ready on your command. Catherine opened a broadcast channel to all ships in range. This is Major Catherine Davis of the Earth vessel Star Voyager. We will now demonstrate the true purpose of human innovation. The Council fleet opened fire. Streams of energy weapons converged on the Star Voyager's position. But the ship wasn't there anymore. The Ripple Drive activated, and space itself seemed to dance. The Star Voyager appeared to split into multiple images, each one slightly out of phase with reality. The Council's weapons passed harmlessly through these echoes. Then, something remarkable happened. Initiating ripple effect, Catherine ordered. The waves of distorted space spreading from the ship began to change. Instead of disrupting reality, they began to harmonize with it. The energy from the Council's weapons was caught in these ripples, transformed, and redirected. Energy conversion at 100%, Paul reported with excitement. It's working perfectly. The space around the star Voyager bloomed with beautiful patterns of light as the ship converted the hostile energy into pure power. The Council fleet's attacks weren't just being avoided, they were being transformed into something new. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Catherine announced, "What you're witnessing isn't a weapon. It's a new way of understanding space itself. The ripple drive doesn't just move through space, it works with it. And we're willing to share this knowledge, freely and without limitations." The Council fleet's attack faltered as their sensors registered what was happening. The star Voyager wasn't fighting back. It was showing them a completely new way of interacting with the universe. Catherine's communication panel lit up with incoming signals, not just from the younger Council races now, but from some of the eldest ones too. They were fascinated by what they were seeing. "Major," Ben called out, "the Auroran ships in the Council fleet. They're powering down their weapons. The Vex ships too. They're requesting our technical data." Catherine smiled. This was what humanity had been working toward. Not confrontation, but transformation. The ripple drive wasn't just an engine. It was proof that progress didn't have to be feared. "Send them everything," she ordered. "All our research, all our findings. Show them that innovation doesn't have to be controlled to be safe. It just has to be shared." The star Voyager continued its dance through space, each ripple showing the watching ships a new possibility. The Council's attempted show of force had become a demonstration of something far more powerful, the ability to change and grow without fear. As more ships powered down their weapons, Catherine sent a message to Earth Command. "Phase 1 complete. They're beginning to understand. Innovation isn't their enemy. Limitation is. The real revolution wouldn't be fought with weapons. It would spread through ideas, through the simple truth that progress shouldn't be feared or controlled, but embraced and shared." The Council's millennia of restrictions were about to end, not with a battle, but with a revelation. And as Catherine watched the ripples spread through space, carrying their message to ships that had once been enemies, she knew that this was just the beginning. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if welcoming a new age of unlimited possibility. 3 months after the Star Voyager's demonstration, Commander Susan Mitchell stood once again in the Council chamber. This time, she wasn't alone. Ambassador Peter Collins and Major Catherine Davis stood with her, facing a very different council than before. The massive chamber had changed. Where once 15 senior members sat in judgment, now representatives from all levels of each species were present, young and old, conservative and progressive, all gathered to witness the beginning of a new era. "The Council recognizes Earth's delegation," announced Dawn Singer, who had replaced Luminous Clarity as the Auroran representative. The former High Elder had chosen to step down, acknowledging that change was necessary. Susan stepped forward. "3 months ago, we stood here accused of advancing too quickly. Today, we stand here as partners in progress." The chamber's holographic display came to life, showing the changes that had swept through Council space. Ships equipped with modified ripple drives moved efficiently between stars. New research stations orbited dozens of worlds, their work unrestricted by artificial limitations. The human model of shared innovation has produced remarkable results, Crystal Thought admitted. The Vex representatives' crystalline form sparkled with new patterns, signs of their own unrestricted growth. "Our fears of chaos were incorrect." Peter Collins nodded diplomatically. Fear of progress was holding everyone back. "The HFY War forced us to overcome that fear. Now we can help others do the same." A new figure stepped onto the Council floor, Dr. Nathan Howard, arriving from his joint research project with Auroran and Vex scientists. The young researcher had become a symbol of cooperation between species. "We've completed our analysis of the Council's old control protocols," Nathan reported. "Every limitation we remove reveals new possibilities. But more importantly, we're learning how to advance safely without artificial restrictions." The chamber filled with excited murmurs. Catherine Davis activated the small device, and the air above them filled with a demonstration of the latest ripple drive modifications, Space itself seemed to dance with possibilities. "This is what happens when we work together," Catherine explained. "The drive now incorporates principles from 5 different species. It's more efficient than any single approach could have achieved." Susan watched the reactions around the chamber. The younger council members were clearly excited, while some of the older ones still showed concern. But it was no longer fear she saw in their faces. It was cautious hope. "There will be challenges," Dawn Singer acknowledged. "Some worlds are advancing faster than others. How do we maintain stability without imposing control?" "By teaching rather than restricting," Peter answered. "Earth has established training centers across council space. We're sharing not just technology, but methods for safe innovation." Susan stepped forward again. "The recent crisis with the Drift Collective proves our point. When their sun began to destabilize, it was unrestricted cooperation that saved their world. Old council protocols would have delayed the solution until it was too late." The chamber's display shifted to show the Drift Collective's star system, where once their sun had threatened to destroy their civilization. Now a network of quantum stabilizers, built with combined technology from 6 different species, kept it healthy. "We propose a new role for the Council," Susan continued. "Not as controllers of progress, but as guides and teachers. Help species advance safely, but don't hold them back." Crystal Thought's form shimmered thoughtfully. "And what of the Zentari? They remain a threat, even with our combined advancement." Catherine smiled. "Actually, we have a proposal about that too." She activated another display, showing a radical new approach to dealing with their old enemies. "We think it's time to try something different." The display showed human diplomatic ships equipped with modified ripple drives, making peaceful approaches to Zentari space. The same technology that had once defended against them could now be used to bridge the gap. "The Zentari attacked us because they feared being left behind," Peter explained. "We can show them a better way, just as we're showing the Council." Dawn Singer's bioluminescence pulsed with approval. The old Council sought to prevent disaster by controlling progress. The new Council will prevent disaster by guiding progress. A subtle but crucial difference. Nathan brought up one final display, a map of known space filled with points of light representing new innovations and collaborations. "This is what unrestricted progress looks like. Not chaos, but cooperation. Not competition, but collaboration." Susan looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes and equivalent sensory organs of each species' representatives. 3 months ago, you feared human innovation would destroy the balance of power. Instead, it has created a new balance, one based on shared growth rather than shared limitations. The chamber erupted in approval. Even the most conservative members could not deny the evidence before them. Progress, when shared freely and guided wisely, strengthened everyone. As the formal session ended, Susan found herself standing with Peter and Catherine near one of the chamber's huge windows. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the new age of possibility. "Did you ever think," Catherine asked, watching ships of multiple species moving through space with their modified ripple drives, "that our response to the HFY War would end up changing the entire galaxy?" Peter smiled diplomatically. "We didn't just change technology. We changed how people think about progress itself. And this is just the beginning," Susan added, watching a group of young representatives from different species eagerly discussing new research possibilities. "Imagine what we'll achieve now that everyone can innovate freely." A sudden flash of light caught their attention. In the space beyond the window, a ship of unfamiliar design rippled into view. The first successful test of a completely new drive system, developed jointly by 3 species that had once been bound by council restrictions. "That's the real victory," Susan said softly. "Not that humanity broke free of the chains, but that we helped everyone else break free too." As they watched the new ship dance through space, its design incorporating the best ideas from multiple civilizations, they knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The Council of Stars had transformed from a force of restriction into a force of guidance, and the age of artificial limitations was over. The stars themselves seemed to shine their approval on this new age of unlimited possibility, where innovation wasn't something to be feared, but something to be shared. And somewhere out there, even the Centauri were about to learn that the best way to face the future was not with fear, but with hope.